Hello guys, and welcome to the Sales and Leadership channel. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Heslop, the founder of Elliott Browne and TheBig4. We're a recruitment business, a pretty hardcore sales environment, and the purpose of this channel is to help you guys to develop your sales skills and also to help your leadership skills. So I really hope they can get some value from this channel. Today we're going to be talking about sales, and we're going to give you the 5 sales tips or 5 ideas you need to think about when you're entering your sales career. So those experienced sales veterans out there will be saying, I already know that, but the question is, do you actually do it? So the basics can be the most effective and efficient things to do. The first one we're going to talk about when you're thinking about entering a sales career is, do you really want it? It might sound like a really basic thing, but sales is a really difficult industry. It's super competitive. It's normally very target driven. You've got lots of pressure. It's long hours. It's very difficult. So the first question is, A, do you want it? And the second question is really, what reasons have you got that would confirm you really want that? Because if you want a comfortable life and have an easier time, there's much better industries and much easier industries to work in than the sales environments. Sales can be pretty brutal, and you've got to put a lot of time, a lot of effort over a prolonged period of time before you really get the big rewards. The second one is if you want to be a professional salesperson and you want to do it for the long term, because that's only when you're going to get the real benefits on the long term, you've got to have something that you can stand behind, a product or a service that you really believe in. Now, I couldn't sell most things. If it's not a good product, or it's not a good service, I'm not going to be able to sell it. So you've got to be really careful and do a lot of research over who you work for, what product they sell, what service they promote, because you've really got to believe in the product inside out, and it's got to be, you've got to be willing to sell that to your mum, to your brother, to your sister, to your girlfriend. And if you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't want to do that, then maybe it's a wrong choice for you, the wrong product or service. What is selling really? Selling, a lot of the case, is a transfer of energy to another people. Now, people buy emotionally, and then they'll justify the purchase logically, but it's all emotions and perception. So if you're on the phone or you're meeting someone, you're doing a presentation, you've got to be transferring that energy, and energy is also confidence. So we say to the guys, energy plus certainty gives confidence to the customer. So if you're certain and you've got lots of energy and lots of power, you believe in the product, that's going to give the person on the other side of the phone, presentation, table, or wherever you're working, they're going to have the confidence in your product. So if you leave a telephone call, if you leave a presentation, if you leave a meeting one-on-one, and you haven't transferred that energy or emotion, then you might not be on the right track when it comes to closing that candidate, because you've got to shift them emotionally. If there's no emotional shift, then it's going to be very difficult to close them at the end. The next part is very important. Now, I had a bit of a funny story, and I failed. I don't know whether anyone's failed as bad as me at this role play, but when I first graduated from university, I had an interview with a recruitment company in London, and there was a guy there. He was actually turned out to be a very good friend of mine called Richard, and he interviewed me for a sales job. Now, this is quite old school interview methods, but the principles still work. So I was very keen, young guy, early 20s, 2021, and he said, okay, Paul, you're a good sales guy. I was like, yeah, I'm a good sales guy, I'm really good. He goes, okay, sell me a pair of trainers. So I was like, okay, quite embarrassing just to do role plays off the cuff. I still don't particularly like that now. But I was like, Richard, I've got these amazing pair of trainers. They're the latest Nike trainers. You can wear them for sport, you can wear them for nights out. They've got like a really cool pattern. They've got like an air bubble. They're like the best trainers for you. And he just looked at me as though I was saying the most ridiculous thing ever. And he said, Paul, are you not going to ask me what I'm looking for? What style of trainer? What my budget is? What trainers I don't like? Is there a brand I do like? Why I like them? You don't think those might be good questions? Obviously, I failed that test miserably, but it's the same thing in any selling. Don't assume you know what the customer says. You've got to qualify that in a minute detail. We're going to talk now about mini closes that you do throughout the process. Now, mini closing in general, there's a term that everyone says is always be closing. And that sounds a bit too salesy. You know, it's always be closing, always be closing. But really, when you come to closing the candidate or closing the product or the service, if you've done your job right at the front end, you've really understood what they're looking for, what they need, why they need it. You've asked lots of questions. You've basically got a spec of what they need, and then you've matched that up as perfectly as you can do, then you're going to fit together. You don't need to do much of closing because it helps the customer, it helps the candidate. It's a perfect fit, it fits very well. The only reason why you have to close really hard at the end is if you haven't done that work at the front end, and then suddenly you find out lots of different information at the back end, and then you're going, oh, well, you know, you've got to you're just trying to close them. It's not professional, and it's definitely not long term. But if you do the job at the front end, it really helps to close at the back end. And the closing, but if you close during the process, you don't need to do a hard close at the end. And really all it is summarizing. So, Mr. X, let me understand this again. You would be interested in this software, you would be interested in this car, you'd be interested in this new job if this, and there within this budget. Is that correct? Yes, it's correct. Mini close. Is there anything else I've missed that could be really important to you when you're making a decision about buying a new car, changing jobs, buying new software? What else is important to you? Now, this is the time to give me that information, because what I want to make sure is I provide you with the best solution or option, and if I don't have it, I'll let you know. How does that sound? That sounds great. We will do another session on closing because there's more tips and tricks, but I hope that helps you now. Again, this is more so for the guys and girls who are entering a sales career. So for some of the veterans out there, they'll be going, Paul, I know this stuff already. This is too easy for me. That could be, but make sure even yourself, you stick to the basics, because everyone can improve on the basics. Hope you liked the session. Hope it was fruitful. If you like what you see, we would love you to subscribe to the channel. We'll be posting some more stuff in the next weeks. I think we might do something on closing, or there might be something on how to win in business and life. We haven't decided yet, but there'll be some very good videos to follow. Have a great day, and I'd love to see you back on the Sales and Leadership channel soon. Thanks a lot.